Today I was told to deliver a talk on Chat GPT. Now, Chat GPT, we need to understand, is just a drop in the ocean where we have many of these so-called AI chatbots. As we are talking, more and more are coming in and are mingling in our lives to help us and to lead us in a quick fashion. So before we go on to Chat GPT, or before we go on to the chatbot, we need to understand they are called the AI chatbot. They are the artificial intelligence chatbots. And so we need to understand what an artificial intelligence is, what is a chatbot before we jump on to Chat GPT. I'll be very clear in this presentation. This presentation is a very basic presentation about the AI and the chatbots. Do not expect a lot of working models to come in this presentation, which we have planned in the second part. The idea of learning AI is to first understand the basics, then go on to the more complex use of AI in so-called healthcare and pathology per se. So let me talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of AI chatbots, as I call. So we need to decide whether we need to continue chatting with the chatbot or not with the chatbot at the end of this presentation. So to start with, what is an artificial intelligence we need to understand? It's a field of computer science which makes machines perform like humans. So this is a very important word, perform like humans. So we learn, we do problem solving, we do planning, we do reasoning, we do identify patterns. All this is done by artificial intelligence in the machine, except the difference is we have emotions, they don't have. Let's see what the future holds for us. But at the moment, it is learning, problem solving, planning, reasoning, and identifying patterns. So what I understand by artificial intelligence, it is a part of a data science. You know, data science is a much bigger field which has a part of artificial intelligence. In fact, machine learning, again, is a part of artificial intelligence, and deep learning is, again, a part of machine learning. So artificial intelligence encompasses machine learning and deep learning. These are new words for most of us, but we have been hearing them. Let's understand what they are. So what is a machine learning? As we know that any computer program to be run, it needs to be programmed in a particular fashion for the outputs. But machine learning is a type of artificial intelligence that provides computer with the ability to learn without being programmed specifically for an output. So what do we have? We have a labeled data. What do you mean by labeled data? Is a data which we tell the computer, this is A, this is B, this is C. And we write a machine learning algorithm so that it picks up from that labeled data and gives out an output which matches with the labeled data. A becomes A, B becomes B, and C becomes C. So that at the end of the day, it becomes a learned model. And this learned model, when it is fed in with an unlabeled data, a mix of jumble of this data is fed in without telling what is A, what is B, what is C. It is fed in this model. It gives a prediction of this is A, this is B, this is C, as per the previous learning by the machine learning algorithm. So the important part is there is an input, there is a machine learning algorithm, there is a model, and there is an output, which is the prediction. So what is this learning and how many ways we can make the machine learn? There are three basic ways to understand. One is a supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and there is a reinforcement learning. So let's understand what each of them are. In supervised learning, we have a known data. In this picture, we have group of apples, and we tell the algorithm, these are apples, and the machine learns these are apples and gives an output. When you feed in a bunch of fruits, it picks out apples and tells this is an apple and this is not an apple. So this is a supervised learning where we already know the data. We tell the computer this is a known data, and the machine picks up the unknown data from the previous known data stored in its memory bank. And unsupervised data, there is no labeling of data. In this example, we have a bunch of fruits where you have mix of watermelon, mangoes, and apple. And we tell the computer to identify a particular pattern by an algorithm. The model separates out the different data or the outputs depending upon a pattern. It could be the color, it could be the size, it could be shape. So as we see, depending upon this pattern, there was no feedback. Remember, feedback from an individual telling this is a watermelon, this is a mango, this is apple. It is all done by the computer by itself as per the algorithm. So it separates the apple, mangoes, and watermelon. This is what is unsupervised data. So in a nutshell, supervised versus unsupervised. Now we know that supervised data depends upon labeled data. There is a direct feedback from an individual, and according to this, it predicts an output. While an unsupervised data, it is non-labeled. There is no feedback from the individual, but there is a structure to this data or a pattern to this data which the machine reads and gives an output. So these inputs, these situations which we feed in the computer are called inputs, and the solutions are called target or outputs. These are the words which are being used in talking in the AI language. Now we come down to reinforced learning. The reinforced learning, we have an object here. In this case, it is an apple. We tell the algorithm to read what this data is, and it gives a wrong message saying that it is a mango, where we given a reinforced feedback saying, no, you're wrong. Look at the shape and the size and the color. It's an apple. So the machine now learns, the algorithm learns by itself. And the next time you feed in an apple, it will automatically recognize, it won't make a mistake. It will say it is an apple. This is called reinforced data. The computer learns by mistakes. This becomes more and more real as more and more inputs are given into the computer. Now, this was what is the machine learning. Now, there is a more complex way in which the chatbots respond, or most of the algorithms respond, is by deep learning. Now, deep learning is a part of a machine learning. It's a type of a machine learning. So what do we mean by deep learning? So deep learning is a subset of machine learning in artificial intelligence that has networks. Remember this word, networks, capable of learning. Now, this data, as we saw in the previous machine learning, is neither supervised, is nor structured. That means it doesn't have a pattern, or nor labeled, as we saw in the earlier 2 or 3 examples. But still, the machine learns. How does it do that? It does by a program neural network. I'll tell you what a neural network is. It's called deep neural learning or deep neural network, DNN, as we say. So just remember this word DNN. And how does the computer do this? Is we need to understand what a deep neural network in simple words. So you imagine an axon here of the brain, human brain. It has dendrites, it has a cell body, it has an axon and synapse to give out the output. In the same way, we have these input nodes, which are actually the dendrites. We have small nodes, which are the cell body, and we have the synapse, which gives out the output. So this doesn't have a structure. This is all done by programming through the computer language. The most common language that is used is Python. So as you see these lines, these are called the synapse, or these are called the weights. Now, these input dendrites or input nodes will run through algebraic equations which are fed into these weights. There are different equations for bringing out different outputs. So if a condition is true for one equation, it will give out an output, the others won't. What will happen is that particular output will go to the next node, and finally the next node again connects to another node by the synapse or the weight and another algebraic equation, and so on so forth till it comes out with a specific output which the user wants or the machine wants. Now you can imagine these nodes in DNN are billions of them. The nodes are billions of them, and the synapses are billions of them connecting them. One node can be connected to another node by multiple synapses, depending upon their algorithms and depending upon their algebraic equations. So the first layer, if you take this example, I have, I hope you understand in a very simple language that suppose we tell this DNN to recognize an animal. In the first layer, it will start recognizing the lines and basic shape of the animal. So this is the first layer of algebraic equation, which will tell you this is the shape of that particular object we are talking about. And in the next layer, it starts reading the complex features like eyes, nose, and ears. But as we go deeper and deeper, finally, the DNN will be able to tell this animal is this and this animal is this and this is different from the other animal. So this happens in milliseconds by running through billions of nodes and taking out a specific output. So this is just an example. This is a very, very small structure of the brain of AI, what we call. It's similar to our brain. You see an image here, it has got two outputs, oligodendrogram or astrocytoma. The MRI image, when it is fed into this model, it will run through multiple nodes. These yellow ones are the nodes. This is the input node, and this is the output node. These are the synapses. All of them are governed by algebraic equations. So finally, as per the machine reading, it will either give out a response of oligodendrogram or astrocytoma in this particular image. So this is how a DNN works. And nowadays, all the AIs are using DNN. The word ChatGPT uses billions of these deep neural networks. We can never imagine it is as complex, maybe not as complex as our brain, but it is evolving and making its own synapses and connections and learning so that it brings out more better results. Before we go on to any other discussion, it is very important. This will be covered in detail by the other panelists and speakers. But before we go on to the other part of this conversation, we should know what is digital pathology. As we know that any artificial intelligence requires a data to be fed in. Now, in cases of histopathology, this data will be an image from the slides. Now, this image cannot be a single click of a camera, a low resolution image. It has to be a very high resolution image to the pixel, so that every pixel is read by the algorithm, becomes a part of a node and gives out an output. So this glass slide is made into a whole slide image, which is called a WSI. There are many types of scanners. I will not go into that. There's a different presentation regarding digital pathology scanners. So these scanners are called whole slide image scanners. You feed in a glass slide, it starts clicking photographs in milliseconds, and billions of photographs are clicked and stitched together to form an image, which is at the level of a pixel. And these will form the WSI image. Now, this particular image is either taken into a server or can be directly read by an observer to mark it or to diagnose. Now, from this server, it either goes to the internet or it goes to the machine learning software or the AI software. And when it is marked by a user, this AI will start learning from this image and will start giving an output, which will improve with more and more learning. So most of the users can see the same image at the same time. People can mark it at different places at the same time, make the AI learn. This is what is a digital pathology. It is an evolving science. We are seeing more and more of it. And the digital pathology, which I saw about 6 years back, has evolved a lot in our country. It has gone to places in other countries, but we have started adapting to it. But there are still reservations by the pathologists when they start reporting on digital pathology. We need to overcome them. Everything requires a training. So more training, and more training. So we need to train ourselves more in digital pathology so that we can in turn train the AI more to give us a helping hand when we are diagnosing a huge workload. So this is what is a digital pathology. Now, let's come to the topic. I have discussed the artificial intelligence. Now on this earth, we have a new species which were born, which were called chatbots. Now, these chatbots were made by us humans. Why were these made? Why did we require them? Can we adapt to them? They very well adapt to us. There is no doubt about it. We need to adapt to them. And what are the advantages and disadvantages of running through chatbots? So in this introduction, I'll be covering the chatbot as a definition of chatbot, the purpose of a chatbot, the growing importance of chatbot, the advantages, the use cases in different fields, and of course the healthcare as well, and the future trend of a chatbot. So what is an AI chatbot? Now, AI chatbot, remember, is not a physical structure. It is a computer program that is powered by artificial intelligence and natural language processing, which is NLP. Natural language processing means it enables human-like conversation with the user when it brings out a response to the queries or when it brings out the solution. So how this works? So AI chatbots uses a natural language programming algorithm to understand the user inputs, break down their language into structure, picks out the keywords, the intent and the context, and refers to its data and brings out a solution. So let's see an example here. There is a user who says, I want to find a Chinese restaurant. Now, this is a natural language processing. The AI picks up a word called Chinese, goes into its database, and as per algorithm, sees the intent and the context, comes back to the user and asks, what do you want to eat? Basically, it means, what do you want to eat in Chinese cuisine? So that if the individual says XYZ, it can bring out restaurants serving the best XYZ. It can filter out the data as per the user's intent. And this can keep on going till the user says, okay, I'm done with. So this is how a chatbot works. Very simple to see here, but very complex because this all requires a DNN which works inside a chatbot. So what are the different types of chatbots? They are rule-based chatbots. They are the machine learning-based chatbots. Very common nowadays are the machine learning chatbots. It all started with the rule-based chatbots. These follow predefined rules and scripted response limited to their capabilities. I've given an example here. There is a user who asks, what time do you open on Friday? Now there is a chatbot sitting in industry and it says, what time do you open up on Friday? Now the chatbot picks up a keyword, says time, and then picks up the intent, which means operation hours. And the intent, it makes a reply, we are open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So this is a rule-based chatbot, very simple, can't deviate more from this because it's a very simple fed-in data. Now, as we know, most of us are using Amazon Echo, where you keep talking to the Echo and it keeps talking back to you and give you replies in NLP, natural language programming. So this is an example. There's an Amazon chatbot sitting at a banking site. Now these can be integrated into third-party websites as well. So when you open up a website of a bank, it says, "Welcome to the banking bot. Please log in to access your account." Now the user says, "Please log me in. My login PIN is so and so." Now the chatbot at the back end is running through this data, through the deep neural networking, sees the intent and comes back in an NLP. It says "good morning" because it has been programmed to respond like that. And it directly tells the balance of the user, pulls out the data from the banking website, tells out what the balance is, and asks, "What can I do for you?" This happens in a very natural fashion. You don't realize that it is a machine which is working. You feel there is a human sitting there who's typing and sending the command back to you. So this is what is an NLP. This is a machine learning based chatbot using a DNN. Now, what are the different industries which are using chatbots? The top 11 industries that use chatbots. You must have come across all these industries in your day-to-day life. You have started seeing chatbots come up. You go to a customer care for repair of the AC. You go to banking sites. You go to e-commerce for selection of a product, for buying product. Healthcare industry, yes, I'll be talking about that, is also now started seeing these chatbots. Hospitality industry, human resources, food tech, ed tech, travel, logistics, automobile, real estate, and they're everywhere now. So you don't interact with a human, now you interact with a chatbot. So the applications of these chatbots in various industries are to give a customer support, as we have seen. It gives instant responses and assists with the common queries. In e-commerce, it assists the customers in finding products or making purchases. In healthcare, it facilitates collaboration between peer systems. That means when you have a history sheet with you from the ER room or the OPD room, this is fed into the chatbot, and it can actually analyze and decide which department you should be referred to, what are the medications you are taking, and it can also tell you that your prescription requires a refill because this is how often you're taking the medication. You might be out of medication. And it can also tell you about the disease you are suffering from and what are the hospitals can give rise to these facilities where you can go for this disease. And it can update your record in the EMR, picking up this prescription or picking up this history sheet. So this happens in the back end very fast. You don't realize it has already integrated your history sheet into its records for the future references. Now in finance, as we saw with the example, you can help with the account inquiries and transaction history. So everybody is now keen to know, there are so many of them. How do we choose? For what purpose we choose what? So I just made a list. This list is copied from a website called Zapier. Now Zapier is a very, very well-developed a company which deals into making of chatbots. You can make your own. Go to this website and you can program your own chatbot for your diagnostic setup. It is as simple as that. You don't require the knowledge of Python. You can try doing all this. So the leader Zapier mentioned is ChatGPT. Now this word has come in after so long. It's called ChatGPT. And the runner-up has come out to be Google Bard. And there are many open source which are called Hugging Chat. And you can build your own chatbot with Zapier. I personally prefer Perplexity over ChatGPT and any other because Perplexity gives you references to the solutions it has given. Just like a journal article, it is good for research. You can go back to that particular references and you can check the authenticity of the facts of the output which is given by Perplexity. So I'll come to ChatGPT, and we have different chatbots for different purpose, for content writing, for sales and marketing, for messaging. You know, we have something called the Amazon Code Whisperer. My son, who is a data scientist, uses GitHub's Copilot for debugging his coding language. So these are there to stay. It has become a part of you. Earlier, to debug a particular syntax used to take, I used to sit overnight and see where the problem is and keep on doing permutation combination. But today, you pick up that line and you tell the chatbot to debug. It tells you this is how you debug, you copy paste, and the program works. As simple as that. So let's come down to ChatGPT. Now, everybody is hyper about what this ChatGPT is. After our lives, what is going to become of us? Whether this ChatGPT is going to sit on desk and remove us, I will answer to that queries as I finish up the presentation. Now, chat is for chatting. GPT is known as generative pre-trained transformer. Now, generative, it generates a particular response by a pre-trained data. You know, I made you understand supervised learning initially, where you require a pre-training by an individual. Now, this pre-training has been done by billions of articles throughout the Wikipedia, the Google articles, the journal articles. Everything has been fed into this machine to learn and pick out facts according to the DNN. And the word transformer. Now, this transformer word is used for the DNN which the ChatGPT uses. It's a complex model where there is a reinforcement. It keeps on going into the DNN. There is a complete node system, which is called a transformer type of a model. So that is the name which is given, is you chat generative pre-trained transformer. Now the developer is OpenAI. It has developed ChatGPT. The initial release was November 30th, 2022. And the stable release was May 24, just about 50 days back, a couple of months back, came out with a very stable release. The earlier release had some issues regarding output of data. See, the future in about a year's time, it has made itself so stable that I will give you some examples that how quick it responds and how true the database it uses and brings out the specific reply. It is written in language called Python because, as I told you, the synapse between nodes, the weights between nodes are to be written in a particular language to take the input and bring out the output. The engine, I will come to this, the engine which drives this ChatGPT is a GPT 3.5 or GPT 4. Now I'll come down to what is GPT 3.5, GPT 4, just touch upon it. I know it is becoming too much now. You are becoming less and less of pathology, more and more tech. But I will stick to basics. I will not go into complexities. So it's a huge science by itself. And the platform is basically, it is a cloud computing platform. It happens on a cloud. The type of program is a large language model. It's called LLM. Now, this LLM is a DNN where there are billions and billions of nodes so large that it's called a large language model. And I told you about transformer. It is a feedback mechanism, a DNN, which brings out the solution or the output. And of course, at the end of the day, It belongs to the species chatbot. So let's see what are the AI models of ChatGPT. What we usually use, most of us use, is GPT 3.5 because it's free for everyone. It is available free to everyone. Now they have come out with GPT-4 recently, which is only accessible to paid users. Now, GPT-4 is a very enhanced version of this DNN, where it has learned by itself, brings out a very specific reply. I'll tell you the advantages of GPT-4 as we go further. So this app, the app actually takes the prompts you write. So the inputs which you give is the prompts. Now these prompts can be written in multiple fashions to get different outputs. I'll come to that when I demonstrate something. So the prompts you write, and this is passed on to this GPT 3.4, the engine. And this runs through the DNN and returns back to the app in a very conversational type of chatbot, the solution. So what we need to understand, what is the difference between ChatGPT and GPT? So if you imagine a Dell computer, or maybe a compact computer, or maybe an HP computer, this is a ChatGPT. And the brain behind is the Intel, and that is the GPT. So what is Dell to ChatGPT is GPT to Intel. So this GPT, the model, is not only used by ChatGPT, it is being used by many of the AI chatbots, and they are just coming out every minute as we are talking. Some are like Jasper, Write-Sonic. Now Bing's new AI-powered search feature has come in, which is called ChatGPT Plus. I'll tell you why they have come out with ChatGPT Plus. And now Google doesn't believe in GPT as a model. So it has come out with its own model, which is called Palm 2. Now they launch, as you happen to, you must have seen that launching show of Bard, which went flop. You know, they launched their Bard with a model called Lambda, which actually responded in a very bad fashion, and they had to get away with Lambda, and they moved on to Palm 2. Now Palm 2 is a model just like GPT, which is doing wonders now. So on the left, I have told you and I have summarized what is a GPT and what is a ChatGPT. GPT is a LLM, and ChatGPT is a chatbot which is powered by GPT. Let's not get very confused about all this. So we'll go on to the next slide. This is the interface of ChatGPT you get. So you get a search bar where you just write in an open language a freehand. So suppose I have written, hey ChatGPT, I am writing about you. Is there anything you'd like to say to the reader of this article? Now the ChatGPT, within seconds, you will see it, runs through its DNN, knows the intent, brings out the context, knows what the user wants, and it tells you what it is. It tells you it is an AI language model. I don't have personal feelings or emotions, thank God, but I'm programmed to be very helpful and informative. So you respond, it goes on like a chat. You know, you don't have to repeat it again and again. You say thanks, keep up the great work, and it will pick up from there and say thank you, and I'll help you more. Please don't hesitate for assistance. So this is how the ChatGPT works. This is a very simple interface which I gave you. I'll show you one or two examples of ChatGPT at the end so that you will know how it works. People who have not used ChatGPT will become very comfortable in using ChatGPT. Now, what is this ChatGPT 4? The GPT-4 which is common, it has given an expansion to the bandwidth has expanded to incorporate the ChatGPT programs or the GPT run algorithms to be incorporated with third-party apps. Very important. You must have used some apps like Expedia, Kayak, and Zapier, Wolfram. So But this is only for paid users. Let me tell you, the amount you'll have to shell out is about $20 per month. So how do you when you go to a Chat GPT plugin of Expedia? I'll give you an example. You go and type there. You say that I want a vacation with a family of four to Sri Lanka. It should include beaches and hills. I plan to travel on so and so date for so many days, and I'll be back on so and so date. Kindly make an itinerary. Within seconds, you will not imagine sitting at your home. You will get the cheapest air ticket on that date. You will get the best possible hotels. It will tell you to book it. The chat can actually book your hotel. It will give you the complete itinerary covering the hills and the beaches and your return flight back booked. And you don't need to keep hopping on the websites looking for flight tickets. This is what Chat GPT has done to us. It's amazing when you start using it. You will not go onto these websites and start manually typing now. Once you start using the plugins, but for that you will have to shell out some money. Now, very important. Let's compare quickly the difference or the similarities between Chat GPT and Bard, because these are the two most commonest ones being used nowadays. Bard is made by Google. It's called Google Bard. The difference here, and the most important difference and very big advantage of Bard is it can connect to the internet and pull out the data, and it can Google itself, So, but Chat GPT has a stale data to refer to. This data is as old as 2020, where they are trying to update it now. But if you want more recent data, it's Bard to be used. It brings out all the resources, which is a huge selling point here. The search results can also show you images, which the Chat GPT can't. It has a more DOS-like interface, the Chat GPT, but it gives you images here. You can edit your and keep on following with that reply. That's a very important thing. It lets you choose the solution you want. You can now export your prompts or the results directly to Google Docs or Gmail Draft. I saw a doctor doing that today. Exporting the list of WHO manuals to Excel. Many things can be done. I'll show you one more trick at the end of the presentation. There are many of them. You can keep learning and you can keep enjoying it. So at the end of the day, Bard is built for research, whereas Chat GPT is a better writer. It gives more words to its solution, but both have hallucinations. Now, what are these hallucinations? They are not on drugs. They are called hallucinations. So what is this hallucination? I'll explain you. So if there is a GPT or an AI chatbot, and if you ask the AI chatbot a particular question, and if it doesn't have the reference to an answer or a date or a place, it will make a fictitious date or a fictitious place and tell you, suppose I asked the chatbot on what date smallpox vaccine was made. Suppose it's not there in their database. It will come out, it was made in New Delhi on July 23rd. You immediately come to know this bugger has hallucinated. So you again refresh the command, you start saying that you please go back to the reference and give you the true data, this is false. So this is what a hallucination is. So this is what you have to be careful about. When you start using a chatbot, you should know what you have to accept and reject. Because if you start accepting the wrong facts, you will be misled. And you will be coming out with wrong solutions. I'll tell you at the end of the presentation. So just quickly summarizing, Google Bard, pros and cons. Pros, Bard has an internet access. Bard is better at surfacing relevant information, including images from the Google search. More user-friendly, nicely formatted human-like response. Bard is prone to hallucination. Every AI chatbot is. Let me tell you. Sources are not always reliable and should be fact checked. Absolutely keep that in mind always. Bard provides a fairly isolated experience. It doesn't have plugins. So you can't book your vacation through Bard at the moment. Maybe it will evolve and bring out a third-party plugin, maybe free of cost for us to use. Chat GPT, better at generating text. You must have used DOS. If you know DOS, it works like a DOS language. You know, it keeps on giving you text in a very bland fashion, and it makes you. It has an ability to share conversations with the others because you can just copy paste and send it across, and it has multiple plugins. Very important part, which makes your life very easy, and it has now started having access. The cons are it has started now having access to the internet, but it's very slow at the moment. That particular program is called Chat GPT Plus. Go ahead and use it, but you will, when you want the internet resources, you will love Bard doing that. You know, and so these Chat GPT responses can become very, very lengthy. You have to cut them short. You know, I wrote some command yesterday and it started giving me a data which is a fictitious data. And I told them, boss, this is fictitious. Please give me real life examples. And it came down and filtered its results and it gave me the correct data. So it does have hallucinations. Keep that in mind for any chatbot. Again and again, I'm telling you, the best AI productive tools by category. The best chatbots are ChatGPT, Bard, Hugging Chat. You can just click a photograph of this. There are multiple of them. You can use any of them. I simply love Del 2, you know, where you can write a text and it makes an image out of it. You know, if I write, kindly make a painting out of a pathologist looking into a microscope. It'll make a beautiful painting out of it. You can store it on your desktop. So that it happens in seconds. You know, there are many of them. You can write your own PowerPoint presentation by Slides Go. Please go and try it. It's free, but downloading is not. So you can actually see your presentation and the material in it. It's called Slides Go. So many of them. There are 3D modeling for protein structures. You can make a chatbot by automation, by Zapier. So let's come down to AI chatbots in healthcare. What are the advantages? Remember, this is a basic presentation. I'm not going into details of all the prompts, all the tools, all the plugins being used in healthcare. It's a second lecture. Hopefully, we'll have it shortly. And it's a good lengthy lecture. So, and it's very interesting. But just to highlight these points, advantages, it gives you an enhanced diagnostic accuracy, faster turnaround time, 24/7 availability, reduction in human error, and support for resource-trained areas. That is why we have started getting dependent on these AI chatbots. It covers all the areas where we feel deficiencies throughout. So if we talk about enhanced diagnostic accuracy, there is a AI program or a chatbot which is called IBM Watson for oncology. You must have known this. This reads your tumor diagnosis, the staging and the grading, and can give you a predictive medication depending upon your diagnosis and your presentation and the grading and staging of the tumor. It does it beautifully. It's called IBM Watson for oncology. Path AI is another such developer which has come out with AI Site, IBD Explorer, Path Explorer. What is AI Site? It's like a digital pathology. You just feed in an image, it tells you where the tumor is. As simple as that. It is learned. Beautiful program, AI Site. Go to the website. There is an IBD Explorer where it will tell you the grades of ulcerative colitis, looking into the microenvironments. Path Explorer will tell you the grade of the tumor or the outcome of the tumor, reading the microenvironment. That's what the Path Explorer does. And this is all developed by Path here. DeepMind, another beautiful developer who has come out with AlphaFold 2. This actually analyzes the three-dimensional structure of the protein to make you understand some diseases like Alzheimer's and bring out newer medication as per the 3D structure of the protein. So this is doing wonders, coming out with, going hand in hand with pharmaceutical to bring out more and more drugs which are more effective. Others, you can just go onto their website and see this buoy health care. Actually, you feed in your reports, your history sheet. It'll go for a symptom checker and it'll tell you what your diagnosis is, or it'll give you a differential diagnosis. It's called buoy healthcare, and there are many of them. There is a Your MD, which is always there to listen to your symptoms and tell you what you might be suffering from. So these are some of the AI chatbots which are being used commonly in healthcare. There are many of them. I'll cover them in the second part. Now, what are the disadvantages? The disadvantages are basically it has a limited contextual understanding. What do you mean by that? So if a patient, suppose, says, I've got a chest pain and vomiting, now the AI chatbot reads this and whatever data it has in the back end and comes out with a diagnosis that you've got heartburn, please go and take an antacid. So as doctors, we will not stop there. We will go deeper and deeper till we come down, start investigating, and then we come down to a diagnosis. This is actually a limitation of contextual understanding, or a complex medical language is not being understood by the AI chatbot. Its inability to handle rare cases, because as you know, these are not the number of cases where they have in their learning to go and refer to such rare cases so that the diagnosis can be brought in. And of course, legal and ethical concerns. If something goes wrong, who's liable here? If the patient is misdiagnosed, who's liable? There are some ethical issues regarding that. There are some legal constraints regarding that. And of course, the issue of data privacy and security is always there. It has always remained there. It will become bigger and bigger with all these data being shared among the internet and among the different AI chatbots. So we need to be very, very specific about the privacy and the security of this data privacy and security. And then the whole chatbot example is dependent on training data. So the training data, if it is small, you will get limited results. If it is big, you will get more specific and better results. So there is a dependency on the training data. So the potential risk as per these disadvantages are basically delay in proper treatment, as I told you, inaccurate self-medication, misdiagnosis. The AI chatbot can give you misdiagnosis. So how do you address such issues? The developer should make visible the transparent limitations or enhance the data training, and they should make the AI chatbot in collaboration with healthcare professionals, and they should also refer the complex cases to professionals. So please remember, we are here to stay. We are not going anywhere. Very important part we have to play. So please remember that the developer has to share all the healthcare knowledge with you, and you have to do the fact checking and bring out the solution. Conclusion is that the AI chatbots offer significant advantage in pathology diagnosis, augmenting medical professional capabilities. However, the limitations and challenges must be carefully addressed and monitored to ensure safe and effective implementation in healthcare systems. Very important. You are the boss who decides what is correct and what is not when it comes out to the solutions given by the AI chatbot. Very important. Again, I tell you, we are here to stay. So the take-home message is AI will not replace pathologists, but we need to learn to adapt to the changing diagnostics. So it will not replace a pathologist, but we also need to learn how to adapt to this changing field which we are encountering. So once a new technology rolls over you, if you're not part of the streamloader, you are a part of the road. Of course, absolutely right. So let's sit on the steamroller and decide where it goes. And of course, we still have the emotions. We always get the jokes, but they don't. Thank God, we always get the jokes. So thank you very much. And I will give you a short example of about 1 minute of how ChatGPT works by giving a prompt. So you will you please mute the phones? I will share my screen, some other screen. Yeah. So this is the screen which you get. You go into login. When you log in a ChatGPT, it is available on chat.openai.com. So I will use in my username, my password, and it continues. Now, on the left, you start getting the history of AI chatbot, your chats with the ChatGPT. These are some of the positives of ChatGPT. ChatGPT 4 is locked because it is paid. 3.5 is for free version. You can use that. And I will just ask ChatGPT, please make a PowerPoint presentation on importance of pathologists in healthcare industry. Now I press enter. Here it comes. You see how quick they are. And now this is going on. Absolutely right. I agree to all these points. And it summarizes at the end. You can copy this, paste it. So it'll ask you for questions. You can say, make a slide design for a slide deck according to this chat for PowerPoint. So see, it started making a PowerPoint slide set. It will tell you what you have to include. You can also tell it to include some images. But what I do normally is I say, write VB is the Visual Basic Code for this PowerPoint See, we started writing a whole Visual Basic Code. Very simple. Just copy this code from here, take it to a PowerPoint, insert in a module, save it, you have a ready PowerPoint presentation on importance of pathologists in healthcare. As simple as that. It has taken seconds to make a 40-slide PowerPoint presentation. It can also tell you to add images, to tell how many slides you want, filter out the content and everything. So that was indeed everything. So any questions, you can put it in the chat before I conclude.